In the early hours of the 7th of January 2017, an unthinkable act of violence unfolded at an Enmore 7-Eleven, a night that would forever haunt those who witnessed it. Evie Amati, a transgender woman already burdened by inner turmoil, had spent the previous evening on a Tinder date. On the 6th of January, after matching with a woman, she joined her date and the date's housemates for a night of drinking and drug use. What began as a hopeful connection quickly soured. Evie later recalled that as the evening progressed, she became incredibly anxious when she realised the group was fixated on her transgender identity. In an attempt to test their acceptance, she had casually placed her leg against her date. Instead of eliciting warmth or curiosity, the gesture provoked a reaction so strong that Evie described it as feeling not as a natural readjustment as if she was burned, but as if she'd been touched by a leper or something that was infected. Hurt and rejection soon turned to a deep, festering anger. An hour before the assault, she sent a chilling message to her date. "One day, I'm going to kill a lot of people for hating something so innocent." That conversation ended at 1:31 a.m. By 2 a.m., consumed by a mix of depressive anguish and homicidal rage, Evie armed herself with a 2-kilogram axe and an 18-centimetre knife. With these weapons in hand, she made her way to the 7-Eleven, where ordinary lives were about to be violently upended. Inside the store, Ben Rimmer was casually buying a meat pie, and Sharon Hacker was picking up milk, routine tasks that could not hint at the horror soon to come. Surveillance footage later showed Evie entering the store and methodically walking a lap around the shop. She approached Ben first. Their brief exchange was so ordinary that Ben initially assumed her carrying an axe was simply part of a costume or a prank. However, in a split second that altered lives forever, Evie swung the heavy axe into Ben's face. The impact sent him crashing to the floor, leaving a 10-centimetre gash and multiple facial fractures. Ben's injuries were so severe that he required reconstructive surgery, with 4 metal plates inserted into his face. Medical experts warned that even a millimetre more damage could have proved fatal. Sharon, standing near the door in stunned disbelief, witnessed the aftermath of Ben's brutal attack. In a further act of savagery, Evie struck Sharon in the back of the head with the axe, fracturing her skull. Although Sharon's thick dreadlocks absorbed some of the impact, she suffered ongoing nerve damage as a result. Outside the convenience store, the violence did not relent. Another man, Shane Redwood, found himself caught in the chaos when Evie swung the axe at him twice. In a desperate bid to protect himself, Shane clutched his backpack as a makeshift shield. Shortly after, police apprehended Evie, ending the immediate threat but leaving a community in shock. During her trial, Evie Amati pleaded not guilty to 2 counts of wounding with intent to murder and 1 count of attempted wounding. She attributed her actions to a combination of severe mental illness and intoxication from hormone medication, cannabis, amphetamines, and alcohol. Though she claimed to have no memory of the attack, she admitted to experiencing a flood of homicidal rage and even recounted hearing a voice in her head urging her to kill, kill. In 2018, a district court jury found Evie guilty of wounding with intent to murder, attempting to wound with intent to murder, and inflicting grievous bodily harm with intent to murder. Initially sentenced to 9 years in prison, her sentence was later appealed by the Crown as being too lenient. The court ultimately increased her sentence to 14 years with a non-parole of 8 years. Despite her lawyer's pleas citing the progress she'd made in custody and the discrimination she'd endured from fellow inmates, the judge was firm. The sentence imposed significantly failed to reflect the criminality involved in the respondents' offences, he stated. The risk of death was high in each case, and the fact that death did not occur was entirely a matter of good fortune. The events of that night serve as a stark reminder of how deep personal pain and rejection can spiral into public tragedy. A night when ordinary acts of shopping turned into a scene of brutal violence, leaving victims and a community forever scarred.